let's tune that down a little bit. Welcome to the show. This is KO Bets. My name is Bill. I've got a multicast going for the first time tonight, which is pretty sweet. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. I was trying to get that going before the big event. I appreciate you tuning in. Before we get started, please like the stream, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support tremendously. We've been doing this for like 3 years now, and it's UFC 300. I'm going to pause that music. All right. And then we're going to get into it. First things first, NFT update. I am at 74 subscribers on YouTube. When I hit 100, I'm going to give away a UFC strike moment. Shit. I think we can take that in a bit. There we go. Before we go over UFC 300, give my picks and predictions, I just want to recap last week. If you're not already, you can give me a follow on Twitter. My username is right here, and it's also pasted below the video. Here we go. So I'll typically post my picks every week. Honestly, should have went a little more conservative last week, ended up losing, but we'll just recap the picks. I picked Brendan Allen. He wins via split decision. I thought he won, but Alex Hernandez was my pick. I thought he was going to get Damon Jackson early. Didn't. Honestly, the Morgan, this fight, Morgan against Shepe, I had Morgan, and I thought it was bullshit. The result, I mean, it was, I can't cry robbery, right? Because it wasn't like a knockout or something definitive, but I thought Morgan Sherry won that fight. Ignacio Bahamundes with the quick first round knockout. That was awesome. I didn't think Trevor Peek versus Charlie Campbell was going the distance. I thought there was no way. Alex Morono, great parlay piece. Lucas Brzeski, again, kind of a questionable result, but congrats to everyone who took Lucas. The Norma Dumont and Jermaine fight, really close. I took Jermaine as a dog pick. I took Falco as a dog pick. I thought Falco clearly lost to Hugo. I took Dan Argueta as a dog pick. He gets submitted at the end of round 2 there. Probably was up 2 rounds, but gassing out fast. He wasn't going to go the 15 minutes. Cesar Almeida, that was a good underdog pick. And then Melissa Mullins just falls short. I think she was the biggest favorite on the card. Right? So ideally, would have went a little more conservative, but we're still up like 43% on the year. And, I don't know. I haven't quite figured out. We're tracking units, right? It's kind of like I saw this Twitter post where this guy lost 30 units last week, and it's like, even in a bad week, we lost 2 units. And so I really would encourage you to be opportunistic, look at these lines. I think I went a little, I think I just should have been a little more conservative. I was picking all underdogs, And we've got UFC 300 here. Big event. I mean, it was nuts just to see all these fighters on stage yesterday for the press conference. It was absolutely crazy. And I was like, is there, like, all of these fighters, right? And I mean, I was like, who's starting off the card? Is there someone before Cody Garbrandt and Davidson Figueiredo? No. And this is just absolutely insane. To start the card, we've got Davidson. I've got a stiff drink going, and I'm going to need it because this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Davidson Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt. Davidson Figueiredo looked great in his debut at 135 against Rob Font. Or is this 145? No, this is 35. Taking on Cody Garbrandt. Man, assessing these two fighters, Cody Garbrandt had a good performance in his last fight against Brad Kelleher. Should have won that. This is a step up in competition. I mean, if it goes to a decision, and if you think that way, I could see you getting a little enticed by the Cody Garbrandt line, but I just feel like the chin is a concern. And although Davidson Figueiredo is probably not going to be able to wrestle in this fight, like, he can crack. And he was hurting Rob Font, who's way more durable than Cody Garbrandt, in my opinion. And so I see Davidson Figueiredo probably knocking out Cody Garbrandt. Probably, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. The other aspect of this fight card is there's a $300,000 bonus on the line for knockout of the night, submission of the night, and fight of the night, right? So I do think guys are going to be gunning for that bonus. And yeah, I think when these two sit in the pocket in an exchange, Davidson Figueiredo, the cardio is going to be much better at this weight class, even though Garbrandt's bigger. Give me Davidson Figueiredo to get this done. If you're watching PFL, by the way, I went pretty much all favorites across the board. I don't know what the card's shaping out to look like, but we've got a parlay boost, so maybe we can build a parlay while we're on the stream. I use Draftkings. That's where I pull odds from. Davidson Figueiredo, minus 310 favorite. Odds makers do not like this to go the distance. I would agree. And then I would say I like the Figueiredo knockout. So do the odds makers at plus 175. That's what I think is going to happen. At plus 175, I don't think this is going the distance. You could probably sprinkle the Garbrandt knockout and decision too. The KO or decision and the Davidson Figueiredo, you could cover yourself. I think those are the two most likely outcomes. Although, if it does go to a decision, it's going to be close. You know what I mean? Like, you definitely... This is my second drink. You definitely could get screwed if this goes to a decision, because Davidson Figueiredo could win that decision. It could be close if it's a decision. If this fight takes place on the feet, like the volume numbers, I mean, I kind of like, to be honest, Garbrandt to be throwing a little bit more, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Figueiredo knockout. Just rambling a little bit. Bobby Green taking on Jim Miller. Man, and I've been back and forth on this one. I think this is an amazing fight. And I'm gonna just stop myself there. I'm gonna continue to say it, but it's not needed, right? This is UFC 300. I'm so jacked. Bobby Green taking on Jim Miller. Jim Miller. Let's just look at what he's been doing recently. I mean, it's really incredible. He's got 1, 2, 3 knockouts. Prior to that, he was knocking out people in 2018. So, I mean, it's just... The dude's 40. He's fought on 100. He has a win at UFC 100, UFC 200, and now he's going for it at UFC 300. He's taking on Bobby Green, who I just think, Yeah, he lost to Jalen Turner. Yeah, he got, like, that was a horrible ref stoppage. But, and he has been getting hurt. Like, didn't he get hurt against Drew Dober the fight before? No, that was a few fights before. Okay. He's very active, right? That was the headbutt against Gordon. Ferguson, easy win. Dawson gets the round one knockout. Yeah, I just think Bobby Green's the better fighter, the better overall fighter. Are you concerned about him potentially getting cracked with the low hands? Of course. And Jim Miller can crack. But I just, yeah, and I've kind of been back and forth, but I just think Bobby Green is the better fighter in this, and I think Bobby Green could actually knock out Jim Miller. So I really like the knockout result. Like, whoever you're going with, I I think they're going to be gunning for it. I think this is going to be a knockout. If we're looking at Jim Miller, like, we obviously know Bobby Green, how he approaches fights. I mean, Jim Miller hasn't been knocked out recently, but this is a dynamic striker that's standing across from him. Give me Bobby Green at plus 240 with the knockout. Jessica Andrade, and again, I'm going to post all my official bets on my Twitter. It's free. Just follow me, interact with it, help me out, right? Jessica Andrade taking on Marina Rodriguez. Jessica Andrade, she's let me down a lot recently, but looked phenomenal against Mackenzie Dern, right? Man, I think people are. I would expect this to be more in favor of Jessica Andrade. What's Chad Rodriguez doing? Lost to Jandaroba, who's got insane volume and is lanky and not the same fighter as Andrade, but a grappler. Yeah, I mean, I think if Andrade is able to grapple, and she's shown she'll do that in fights, she's gonna win. She's gonna win this, I think. So I'm gonna go with Andrade to get this done at minus 130. I think she could get it done inside the distance, but I kind of like the decision for Andrade. That's where I'm leaning. But give me Jessica Andrade to get this done. I think she does grapple. If she's going to stand and bang with Marina Rodriguez, I don't really trust the chin, the durability, the reach discrepancy in a stand-up fight for Jessica Andrade, but I do think she's going to grapple. And Marina Rodriguez on paper, let's look at that. 66% takedown defense. I think if Andrade just would commit to the grappling a little bit more, she would have had a lot more success recently, even if it's decision losses, you know? Jalen Turner taking on Renato Moicano. Yeah, this is a fight where I just think Jalen Turner's a physical monster. Moicano's very hittable, too. And I just think it's going to take one shot from Jalen Turner to put away Renato Moicano. We've seen Jalen Turner recently, I think, have some extended fights, too. Yeah. Where he went, lost split decisions to Hooker and Gamrot. I don't think this one's going to a decision. I think this is going to be a Jalen Turner finish, probably a knockout, just given Renato Moicano's submission, his jiu-jitsu background. But, yeah, give me the Jalen Turner knockout, probably early, too. I do think odds makers don't like this to go the distance. They also like the Turner knockout. I mean, if we're building like a same game parlay, I'd say under a round and a half, Jalen Turner and then the knockout result. I don't know if I love round one knockout, you know? And that concludes the early prelims, and now we're on to the prelims. Sadiq Youssef taking on Diego Lopez. And man, this one is one where on paper, I think Sadiq does hold a lot of advantages. I think he's the more technical fighter, but we've seen him get cracked, we've seen him get hurt. And man, I'm torn on this one. I love this kid, Diego Lopez. I love the way he fights. He might go out there and get his ass whooped for 3 rounds, but I really think if he touches Sadiq Youssef, he can hurt him, and he can land the more impactful shots and have the more impactful moments for the judges to score in this fight. So I'm going to go with Diego Lopez to get it done. If we're looking at the numbers for Diego, 9 knockouts, 12 submissions. I mean, a debut loss, unanimous decision to Masvar. That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, I really like Diego Lopez. So give me Diego Lopez to get it done. And yeah, I just am gunning for a lot of finishes, I think. I like the Diego Lopez knockout. I think eventually he catches Sadiq Youssef, maybe round 2, maybe round 3, and puts him away. The next fight we've got is Holly Holm taking on Kayla Harrison. And I think the most likely outcome is that Kayla Harrison just like wrestles Holly Holm, ground and pound, and probably gets a decision win. I think the intelligent betting approach, given the ability of Holly Holm to throw kicks and find the head, is to hedge whatever. I mean, Harrison's, besides Bo Nickel, the biggest favorite, I'm guessing, on this card. And I like the Harrison. I mean, I like her as a parlay. You know, those odds get a little better. I like her as a parlay piece. I don't really understand the point spread. If a fighter wins via KO or submission, then a point spread is automatic, right? If the fight requires a decision via the judge's scorecard, the point spread will be applied to the fighter's combined totals. So I think this would be the parlay piece if I'm choosing for Kayla Harrison, simply because I think she's going to 30-27. Holly Holm is the likely outcome. Will she get tired because she's going down to a lighter weight class than she previously fought at? Possibly. So you can hedge it on the other side with like a Holly Holm finish, right? And you wouldn't have to risk anything at all to hedge that, right? But I like Kayla Harrison here, and I do think the most likely outcome is just for her to wrestle Holly Holm for 15 minutes. Then we've got Calvin Kattar taking on Aljamain Sterling. And I'm kind of surprised Aljamain Sterling's favored here until I heard, I don't think Kattar's... I just closed that tab on accident. I don't think Kattar's fought for a while. I thought he said 18 months at the press conference. And that's a little concerning, but just understanding 2022 knee injury. So it's been, 16 months, right? October's, but I get 18 months. Yeah. I was going off of the 10-month calendar. No, it's a 12-month calendar. 18 months he's been out. He didn't lie. But I don't know. I just kind of like Calvin Kattar in this spot. I think Aljo is obviously a tremendous grappler. On paper, Cater's got good takedown defense. Let's look at some of the opponents of Kattar. Striking wise, though, you gotta love them. Arnold Allen can grapple. Stevens can grapple. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is a tough debut fight at 145 for Aljo. Just like he's not gonna. He was a huge bantamweight, right? Whenever he walked into the octagon, it was like, holy shit, this guy's jacked. Like especially against Sean O'Malley, just looking at him in there, like he had like twice the muscle. It looked like he looked like a physical freak at bantamweight, and he was able to grapple extremely effectively. I just don't think it carries to 145. His style. Um, can he compete in the top 15? Absolutely. But I think this is gonna just show that Aljo's gonna probably have to improve on the feet. If he's gonna stand and strike also with Kattar, like Aljo's shown he just doesn't really have the capacity to strike for 15 minutes, in my opinion. We saw that. I thought we saw that in the first Piotr Jan fight. I thought we saw that against Sean O'Malley, and I just think Calvin Cater's providing he's healthy. Like I kind of like attacking that plus 142 line. I kind of like attacking the KO at plus 450. Odds makers like this to go the distance. And yeah, I think if Aljo wins, the recipe for victory is a decision. But I kind of like Kattar as I think my first underdog pick of the UFC 300 card. Yuri Prochazka taking on Alexander Rakic. I think Yuri needs to get into like a real fight camp because something about him is just really sloppy. Like, despite the discipline, despite the dedication to the sport, there's just something about him that's like, dude, you get punched in the face too much, and at 205 pounds, competing in the top 5 of the division, like Yuri's been hurt. I mean, even against the top 10, top 15, like Yuri's been hurt in every fight he's been in. And I just can't. And he's like, it jacks you up so much to see Yuri win because you can tell it's just like, it's hard, right? It's effort. And I think Alexander Rakic is going to crack him. And we saw him get cracked against Pereira. I think if he got the opportunity to fight against Jamal Hill would piece him up. Who's the other guy? Ankalaev. I think Ankalaev could hurt him. I just would like to see him tighten up a bit, get a little more technically sound, and like join a real fight camp, man. That would be, and I might be eating crow on Saturday night, but I'm gonna go with Alexander Rakic to get this done. I think he gets it done via knockout. I'd say first or second round, something early. You know, at this size, at this weight class, you can't take punches to the face, and that's what Prochazka does. So give me the Rakic KO at plus 250, and I think it's going to be probably early. And for this fight, I mean, minus 2,100. Let's check Draftkings. Minus 1450. It's just an absurd line discrepancy, right? And, you know, you gotta... I do think Bo probably wins this fight. And I honestly think, regardless if he's not able to put away Brundage, I think the most intelligent thing for Bo to do, to walk out of this octagon with a win, is just to wrestle, right? You got 15 minutes in front of you. Wrestle your ass off. Like, you have an advantage. Even with the wrestling background of Brundage, you have an advantage over everyone in this weight class. Just, you don't need to just grapple. Just grapple. So I like Bo Nickel to get this done. I mean, I might sprinkle the Bo Nickel decision at plus 1,000 just because that's ridiculous. Just see plus 1,000 odds on a favorite that's minus 1450 for a decision. But probably just a line you stay away from, right? Unless you like the Brundage side, right? If you want to sprinkle Brundage, go for it. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Brundage has a chance. Charles Oliveira taking on Arman Tsarukyan. And this is one I've been back and forth on. I mean, I think Arman's got all the tools to win a 15-round fight against Charles Oliveira. I think he's got the offensive grappling. He's proficient enough in jiu-jitsu where he can stay out of trouble. I mean, the only fighter who's shown to have equal grappling to Arman thus far in the UFC is Islam. And, yeah, I mean, I just think Arman's a little different. The idea of getting Charles Oliveira at underdog odds against a guy who's not named Islam, just with his resume, is appealing, but I think I gotta go with Tsarukyan to get it done. I mean, I could see a variety of outcomes. I could see a finish where he cracks Charles. I could see a decision where he just wrestle-Fs him for 15 minutes. And then if Charles wins, maybe I'm hedging with the KO or submission at plus 275. But I just like Arman as the minute winner here, and I think he's just good enough where he's not going to get caught by Charles. Arman doesn't have cardio issues. If Charles is going to push on the front foot too, I think the wrestling can kind of negate any sort of those traps that like a Gaethje or a Poirier fell into with Charles Oliveira. Same with Chandler. Like, where you just, like, immediately he's in your face and you're looking to knock him out because you're hitting him a lot. I think Arman's got such good grappling that he could just, like, if he does start to get tired, like, he could just go to that and probably be fine. Then we've got Justin Gaethje taking on Max Holloway for the BMF belt. Max is one of my top, probably two favorite fighters. It's him and Conor, right? Of all time. I love the dude, and I mean, I went back, I watched the Max vs. Poirier fight just because that's a glimpse of Max at 155. But it was on short notice, right? So I'm interested to see how the power translates for Max. I think that fight was beyond damage, was a lot closer than a unanimous win for Poirier. But both of these guys get hit, and I don't know. This should be such a good fucking fight. I would love to see a 3-round decision, just a 3-round war between these guys heading into the other title fights, but man, I think the smart thing, just given the data that's flown in, the that's in front of us. I think the smart bet is to go with Justin Gaethje here. I think Justin Gaethje gets it done. Max Holloway has a tremendous chin. I could see a decision. I could see a KO. Just given the odds and Max's chin, I guess I'm inclined to go with the plus 300 odds there because it's more enticing. But yeah, odds makers fight to go the distance. I kind of like yes. What's the Max knockout lined at? Plus 550. Man, the volume of Max is gonna be sick, right? I don't be surprised if I've got a little tracked bet on Max Holloway. Don't be surprised. Zhang Weili taking on Yan Xiaonan. Zhang is a beast. Who did Yan just beat? Was it Andrade? Yeah, Andrade. I mean, she's on a good run. Terrific striker. This is a big fight for China, right? Both fighters are from China. I just think Zhang Weili with the wrestling is a more well-rounded fighter, and I think she's going to be tough to beat, providing she doesn't have to face Rose Namajunas again. Give me Zhang Weili to get this done. I could see ground and pound finish. I could see a decision. I don't really see a submission happening, but I guess I would pick the plus 200 decision for Zhang Weili. Would be my bet. And then we've got the main event. We've got Alex Pereira taking on Jamal Hill. I really like both of these fighters. But Jamal Hill, watching him take on Glover Teixeira, I thought it was something really, really special. And then you see like the knockout of Johnny Walker, and is the Paul Craig fight a bad look? Sure, but I don't know if it really is, just given the fact that his arm was broken and he wasn't giving up, But I'm just so impressed by the hand speed of this guy, the dexterity on the feet with the striking. And Pereira, no question, has power. He's a kickboxer. He can strike too, right? I'm not diminishing the skills of Pereira. I just think Jamal Hill for this division at 205, I feel like I'm watching like Max Holloway, a 205-pound Max Holloway, when I'm watching Jamal Hill strike. It's really incredible. He's durable. Can he get cracked? Absolutely. I really love the wide stance that he has. He's going to have to watch the front leg kick, right? His lead foot is going to get, that lead leg is going to get kicked. And he's got to watch that. But I think, if he's able to do that, I think he probably scores a knockout against Alex Pereira. I really like the underdog pick here in Jamal Hill. I like the Jamal Hill knockout at plus 180. And if you like Alex Pereira, that's great. I think I'm cool with the line. I think it should be about a pick-em between these two guys, given the fact that Jamal's coming off of injury. But otherwise, absent of injury, I just think Jamal Hill's the better fighter. So, going with Hill. Anything interesting trending? We had, OJ Mayo died yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. Masters is going on. Oh, we could check in with the PFL. where's MMA? Oh, there it is. See what's happening. I went with, I did take one underdog tonight, but I went with pretty much all favorites. Let's see. Carlos Jr. I took, submission. I think I took this guy with the long name, knockout. I didn't take Primus. I'm pretty sure I took Miranda. Open. Oh, I took Primus. And I took Yagamashurov. Holy shit. All favorites except for this Yagamashurov guy. He was plus 120. Rabinov, Espinoza, Nunez. It looks like for the remaining fights, I took Sai, Burnell, Collard, Wilkinson, and Impa. So that'd be sick. I did a 20-cent parlay to win $330. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Be safe, be responsible tomorrow night. Please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the support tremendously. And just, yeah, give my Twitter a look. Probably by, like, noon. I'll have the picks updated. I'm going to do some yard work. But it's going to be cold early, so I'll get it done early. And, oh, real quick. If we're going to build a round robin right now. Or, sorry, a parlay. Not enough juice on the knockout for Turner. Maybe something like this. I think I'm going to use that Harrison minus 3.5 as like an anchor on a lot of things, but we'll see. All right, have a nice night, everyone. Peace.